My name is Klein, and this is my Simacogo. I was not able to get the values to correctly percolate up the tree after the mid node right after the leaf nodes, but it still can play, and I'll explain why later. So I entered a degree of difficulty from 1 to 4, which are my applies. It gets very slow after that, so I'll push 2. Enter a column from 0 to 8, so I'll press 6. And basically my AI always goes left-leaning, trying to build triangles. And the strategy, it always does it no matter what the apply, and the strategy that I would use if it were to work is try to build kind of things like this so you can get diagonals and horizontals and verticals. Simacogo, I created a board class which basically it holds how to score the board, how to initialize the board, and also a separate initialization for boards within the tree, and just other things like create board and creating deep copies. I made a successor class which grabs the immediate successors for each AI move, which will be used in the CPU, which is basically AI. This is the CPU class. I have a make move method which calls the successor on the current board, and it creates 8 boards in an array list that will be called recursively in my minimax algorithm, and afterwards it finds the one that has the highest value and it returns that to the board, and then it updates the board. My minimax, so for each board within the array list I say minimax successor board, and I set the depth as 0. So there's two. So initially when I play, there'd be 2 pieces on the board, and that would be depth 0. And each ply is it's the AI move plus a mid node and a max node. So for each ply, it's ply times 2 plus 1. And how I structured the minimax is I pass it a board and a depth, and once the depth is greater than difficulty times 2, aka once the depth is at the leaf, it sets the score, and I have this thing called best score, which is supposed to percolate the values up throughout the tree. So I set that best score as just the board score, and I return that. And if it's not a leaf, I cycle through all the possible options for putting another piece on the current board, and I say, so it returns an int up here, and then I just say, after I build each board, I say I say int compare score equals minimax new board, which is the board I just created, and then depth plus 1, so it keeps going deeper into the tree. And then this is kind of where I believe it's not percolating up, because it works. The percolation works for the leaf node, giving the value to the very last min node, but after that it's not working. But I'm gonna go to a tutor and check it out. But basically I just say if each board is assigned a depth within the function, so if it is divisible by 0, then it's a max node, and you're trying to find the largest score. So you say if the score that you just calculated is greater than the current score, which they're all assigned, each max node is assigned integer dot min, so it's like a very low negative number. But if it's not divisible by 2, it's a min node, and it's trying to find the lowest score. So if it's this is assigned integer dot max, and if the compare score is lower than the current score, then you assign the best score of the parent board to compare score, and then you return the board. I've been debugging all day, and I can't really figure out exactly why it's not working, but I do know that everything works, including the if statement in the recursion function, but it's somewhere here that the values aren't being properly passed up, because in my once all the successor boards are returned, all the values are 0, but they should be like negative or positive, representing the highest value that they can be attained. So I'm going to keep looking into that, but that is how I structured my Simacogo. And everything, the game works, but the minimax is not quite there yet. Thank you.